Welcome to Movie Lounge. I'm your host, Stephen Wassung, and today we're doing a very special Star Wars all access to just talking about Star Wars. And my guest today is Reed Otto, a really good friend of mine back home in Nebraska. How you doing, Reed?
Good.
So, I am wearing a Star Wars shirt. I'm wearing Darth Vader. I don't know if you guys can see it much. It's cold up here in Northern California, so I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, but I'm digging the helmet.
I pretty much wear it all day, every day, so.
So, how much of the Star Wars of the Force Awakens stuff have you seen so far, leading up from like the trailers up to now?
The featurette, the trailers, the teasers, up until the most recent final trailer. I'm not going to see any more of the TV spot stuff because I don't want to know anything else. I feel like I can imagine too much, and I don't want to spoil the experience of having that first time seeing it, mind blown, not knowing what's happening. And I'm afraid I'm going to figure it out because I'm so in tune with the universe of Star Wars, as you can see.
So the last thing I saw was the Japanese trailer, and I thought it was cool. It didn't give away a lot. It gave enough away where I'm like, I don't need to see any more. I feel like
that's what I did too. That's the one I saw, the international one.
Yeah, and it was a cool trailer. Like I almost liked it just as much as the one that they released on the Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Like there were some really cool shots, and then people were like telling me all this cool stuff that's in there. I was like, don't tell me anymore. Like I'm at a level of just ecstatic.
I was kind of scared. I was like, I feel like just seeing short clips gives me plot points that I could deduct and figure it out, reverse engineer it, you know?
Right.
And, I'm with that. I don't want to know.
Right. So one of the theories that I was talking to with a coworker was that, because I was going around thinking that Kylo Ren is, because like there's a scene in the trailer that he's like looking at the helmet, Darth Vader's helmet, and and you probably know about this, I don't know you, but where he's talking about, I'm gonna finish what you started. Yeah. The interesting thing about that is the only person that knows that Darth Vader came back to the good side is Luke Skywalker. Yeah. And I was thinking about that. I was like, holy crap. Like, everyone else thinks Darth Vader's bad. And so, like, Kylo Ren, I seriously think he's, like, will be awesome, but he's kind of, like, crazy.
Yeah, I feel like he's obsessed, and in the eyes of the Empire, see, the only person that knows that's alive is Luke. And so at some point, I think there's going to be an epic showdown where Luke's going to confront him and tell him the truth, and he's going to be shocked about it. Kind of like the way Vader said, "I'm your father" to Luke. That could be a really cool reveal in this movie, or maybe in Episode 8, which would make sense to be in line with the way they did 4, 5, and 6. This could be 7, 8, 9, the middle movie having the big reveal.
Right. I also
would be a big reveal on like relation to, like, if, for example, Rey happens to be Solo daughter, you know, probably is. I don't know. That could be a big reveal in this movie or the next. Yeah, there you go.
I think Luke will only come in the last few minutes of the film. I don't think he's going to be in it as much as a lot of people think. I like the fact that he's not in the poster. I like the fact that they're keeping him hidden. Like, there's no...
that was perfect.
Like, when they saw him, people were like, he's not in the trailer nor in the posters. And here's the funny thing about the trailer. One of the things I think is when that hand that you see that's on R2-D2.
Yeah, that's the only time that's him.
And I think that's a flashback before, because I think Luke is going to do the whole Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, I'm going to go into exile, like, I'm going to do what Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi did. I think that's what he does. And then when you see like the kids walking up with Han Solo going up to that temple, I think that's kind of like the new Jedi temple. That's what I believe. That's the new Jedi temple is where Luke will be.
I have a theory about that. I'm going to jump in there. So when he's walking up to whatever that is, that's some sort of outpost.
Right.
And I think the characters are trying to find, they're trying to find Luke. And I think that he secluded himself for a reason, and we're going to find out what that reason is at some point, whether it's in this movie or the next. And so I think there's a good chance that I think it would be epic if the person that Solo has to seek out is Boba Fett.
Dude, oh man.
That would be mind-blowing. I've said for a long time that they should have a shot in the movie, the very end, where they zoom across the desert and, they mention in the years past or whatever, zoom across the desert and it comes to the edge of the Sarlacc pit, and the very last shot you see is just a hand reach out and grab a bunch of sand to start pulling themselves out, and then it just goes black. And everyone knows what that means. It would be Fett's hand.
Oh, yeah. I believe that I like also how Han Solo is playing a very key role. Like how in the original trilogy, he never believed in the Force. He's all like, it's all hokey pokey. But now it's like, it's true. Like all this stuff is just crazy true. And I like how it's more about the chick who's probably, my bet is it's Han Solo's daughter. I don't think we're going to be introducing Luke's kids yet. I mean, I could be totally wrong.
No.
And so I think that like Han Solo like helps them find Luke is the other key thing. And I love the whole return of the original cast with R2-D2, which I think is the original cast of the original is definitely helping the new start of this whole entire new trilogy, which is like completely perfect of what they're doing.
I want to throw something in there on that. So originally they had Michael Arndt writing the script, and I really didn't like that. I joked and said that I felt tremors in the Force ever since I found that out. Because, he just did Toy Story and Little Miss Sunshine, and I'm like, so that qualifies you to do Star Wars? Are you kidding me?
Right?
When I heard that J.J. Abrams took over and scrapped that script, because that original script focused only on new characters. But from what I found out is that J.J. brought Lawrence Kasdan, the writer of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, which best decision ever. And the two of them started from scratch, wrote completely from scratch. I heard that they're writing from the sense that they're focusing on the old trilogy. I think there's going to be a potential for time in the prequels, which would be nice to bring balance to that. But so I think that they wrote it intentionally so that it would be an introduction of the new characters, but that this story would revolve around the original cast bringing in the new characters, so that it isn't just oh, hey, we're the new people, like us because you have to. Hi. I'm really glad that they did that so that it's a seamless handshake, and that it feels like a natural flow. And it already feels like the universe, and that's why everyone's so excited about this film, is it already feels just like the original ones. You feel like you're being taken there again. So.
No, I totally agree. I think with how they're... One of the things, because when I first heard about this, I felt like a kid again. When I couldn't believe that Disney bought Lucasfilm. And I couldn't believe that George Lucas is like, I'll sell it. Because I think, the thing about George Lucas is he's a genius in storytelling. Everything that we see now in film and just visually is because of what Star Wars did and what George Lucas did. Yes, he took ideas here and there and put it all together and created this fantasy. And a lot of people think, oh, it's sci-fi. It's no, Star Wars is more fantasy than sci-fi, just with a little spice. Yeah. And so when I heard about this, I was like, what is Disney gonna do with Lucasfilm? What are they gonna do with Star Wars? Like, pretty much Star Wars is crapped out. And then, like, the next day, we're going to make trilogies. And I was like, what? And then they're doing, like, anthology. And I was like, holy crap.
6 films before we even get to 10, 11, 12. You know, I know they're going to do it. There's no way they're not going to do it. They paid $4 billion for it. They're going to milk it for all it's worth. But I also know that they're intent on handling it right. They're not going to just destroy it. And I think that Lucas set it up. He said that he wanted to place it inside of an umbrella so that it could last up to 100 years because of the infrastructure and basically the massive amounts of money they have, and the fact that they're going to make theme parks out of it and rides and, you know, basically go to town with everything about Star Wars, probably to even more intense levels than has ever been, which is kind of crazy to think about. There was a time about 8 years ago where, maybe 9 years ago, where I thought Star Wars was over. I felt like
I was
going to wrap it up. Episode 3, this is it. I went to the premiere. I was like, well, this is it. You know, and never thought they would do 7, 8, 9. There'd always been rumors. There'd always been, you know, things, theories and stuff they talk about. Like, Mark Hamill was interviewed in the 80s talking about doing it when they were there in their 60s. And that Lucas said they were going to do it in 2011, you know, all the way back in the 80s, it would be 2011, you know, which is ironically right about the time that they sold it and it all started happening, because Lucas decided he didn't want to do it all over again. He was too old, and it took so much out of it to do the prequels that I think it was a wise decision, because he just wants to live life and be, you know, do his thing. And he said now he's like, I don't want to know. He's like, I want to be a fan. I get to go to the movies like everyone else. And he hadn't even seen the trailer, I guess. He didn't see it because he didn't want to watch it on the phone. He wanted to wait and see it in theaters.
Which I think is awesome.
Huh?
I think it's awesome. Like, there's one thing, like, I've always said this about George Lucas. I said that when people got mad when he redid things and stuff, I'm like, dude, you still have the original, like, VHSs. If people don't know what that is, go talk to your parents. They'll let you know. But I had no problem with the changes he did because it was his. Like, he owned it. It's his. Like, you're not going to tell Steve Jobs, like, no, you can't do that with Apple. It's like, well, he is the creator. Like, it's just like you're trying to tell someone who creates something, you can't do that. It's like, just let him do whatever he wants, and then when he's done, he's done. And I think the cool thing with Disney is, with them buying Marvel, it's helped them be able to get to Lucasfilm, which is kind of interesting, because Marvel has kind of given all the money back.
Marvel handled it really well.
Oh, yeah. So, and the cool thing with Disney is, they're not putting their name, like with Marvel, they're not putting their name on Marvel. Marvel's doing their own thing. And it's like Lucasfilm, I'm so glad they did not put Disney.
Like, here's Disney, and under that is Lucasfilm. The entity gets transferred, you know, into that, and so it's not even like they're not going to change it and Disneyify it where it's Vader's got Mickey Mouse ears. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They know that the fans would destroy it, like hate it, and they know that it has to be handled with extreme care, which is why I'm so happy they got J.J. Abrams to do it.
Oh yeah, and like is it the guy who directed Godzilla? Is he doing the?
Yeah, Gareth Edwards is doing episode 8.
He is, okay. Because I didn't know if he was doing episode 8 or episode 9. And I saw Godzilla, I'm like, dude, just get this guy doing it. And I would love to see.
I might be wrong. It might be Rogue One.
Actually, that might be right.
Episode 8, I can't remember right now.
And I think it's. Oh, shoot. Because I know they were in talks of having Neil Blomkamp do one of them, which would have been interesting, but I'd rather have him do more of, like, the spin-off ones. Like, if he did Boba Fett, because I know they're doing a Boba Fett. If he ever got signed on, which he probably won't, but if he did Boba Fett with, like, how the look of District 9 and Elysium, like, as bad as Elysium was, like, just the look, it feels more of, like, he could pull off a Boba Fett movie just with how he does things. It would be really cool. But once I heard J.J. Abrams doing it, I was like, I'm sold. Like, let the guy do it.
I think that he's gonna. I don't think J.J.'s gonna be directly involved with all of them. I think that he's gonna be part of like, kind of like oversight, like executive producing, like making sure they don't take it off of the, you know. I think that they've already decided where it's gonna go, based on like, you know, an outline for each.
Right.
And then the director will have the freedom to do their own little creative inputs and story, little happenings and things that, side stories and things. But overall, I think the things that are going to happen have already been figured out. Like, they had to have figured out where it was going while planning 7, you know?
Right.
I think it's already been decided out to 9, and maybe even 10, 11, 12 on very small plot point levels, like what happens to the characters. But
one person.
The next one. I don't know how long Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill are going to hang around. You know, I don't know if they're going to be all 3 or just the first one or the second one. You know.
Yeah, I know. Like, one person I was talking to at work, he mentioned that Luke could be bad. Because I know he was mentioning how Luke kind of dabbles in the, like, past the whole dark side. Like, he dabbles into that stuff a little bit. Like, because he points out in Return of the Jedi where he does the whole choking thing. And that's only a Sith move right there. And I didn't even think about that. I was like, that actually makes a little sense.
I did notice that when I watched Jedi a couple of days ago, just to get, like, ready for the film in a month. I noticed that where he did that to the guards in Jabba's palace, and I was like, I think we were supposed to, like, one of the things I read is that he wore that black uniform, you know, the whole episode 7 or 6.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to not know, like, what his affiliation, whether he was, like, good or bad, dark side or light. But then at the end, when he's dueling Vader and he's confronting the Emperor, his cloak comes open, and you can see there's white on the inside.
Yeah.
So that was supposed to represent, I read that was supposed to represent that he was good. You know, it was like the reveal of, like, okay, he's really good.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird thing that they did. I don't really know why, but I mean, I watched an interview with Mark Hamill and J.J. Abrams back in 2005, where they were all sitting around a table with a few other people discussing.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that he pitched it to George that he's like, I should go to the dark side, you know? And I don't know what George said about that. Obviously, they didn't do that, but, you know, I think that was one of the original things, was where I think Luke was supposed to put on Vader's helmet at the end and say, now I'm Vader, you know? But that would have been lame. I'm glad it happened the way it happened. They may have used that plot point to kind of like bring in the Kylo Ren thing. I think he's obsessed with Vader. I think that he thinks he's a hero of the Empire. Obviously, he doesn't know that Vader turned back to the good side. All he knows is what has been told to him, because he was born after Vader was already dead. So, again, I feel like the portrayal of Vader and maybe even the Emperor in this movie 7 is going to be that they're heroes. You know, they died a hero's death. You know, the Death Star. As far as they're concerned, they just were blown up. So,
I think that one of the really interesting things about Episode 7 is they're doing it smart. They're filming it all on 35mm, and
it's gonna look real.
Yeah, and they're doing it practical effects and awesome. I need to get me a lightsaber. That's one of the things I need to get. And it's interesting because because you remember way back in high school, that's how far I'm going back on this one, is when my older brother worked on episode 3, I got the chance to go visit the set. Or not the set, just to go visit where they do all the visual effects. And one of the cool things there was I got to see stuff that no one would get to see until the movie came out and I had to sign a contract. I kind of wish I could have that now, just to kind of like step in there and see what they're going on. But at the same time, like, I don't want to. I want to be I don't want to know anything about this whole entire new it's literally a revamp. They're revamping the whole entire series. They're bringing in new characters.
I think that the way that they're determined to do it is they're determined to do it more the way the old trilogy was done.
Right.
Like actual effects, I think I read an article, one of the magazines where JJ said they're doing it as many opportunities as they can. They're doing it for real, which is going to feel so awesome, like it, But I don't think that they're going to I think it's a balance. I think it's like half and half from what I remember. They're talking about numbers of how many special effect shots they have and how many effects they have that are practical effects.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm completely stoked about this. I know when I go see it, it's going to be probably the 21st. I'm not going to see it right away. But, because I want... What?
Yeah. I think everyone should be really careful. I'm going to say this. Get off social media, because someone is going to leak spoilers right as they see it. Like, I'm deleting my Facebook from my phone on the 16th, because in Thailand and in France, they get to see it on the 16th.
Yeah.
So I don't want to know. If someone dies, it's a major character, I don't want to know.
I will be...
There's a big plot reveal, think about this. This is the first Star Wars of the social media age, they said. And so we're really going to have to look out. We're really going to have to look out for people that would spoil it for us.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm seeing it the 21st is because my fiance gets back on Christmas. She goes on Christmas break on the 21st or the 20th. And so when she comes, we're going to do like a nice little dinner date thing in the afternoon and then go see episode 7. I'll probably be wearing a nice shirt during the date, but once we get into the theater, I'm taking that off and I'm wearing my Darth Vader shirt and I'm going... Like, she's never dated, like, a nerd. And so, like, I want her to get the experience of, like, this is what I'm bringing our future kids into. Like, Star Wars was what brought me to doing literally this show and just film. Like, Star Wars is, like, literally, if you ask any film person or any media person, like, Star Wars is kind of what opened that whole entire door. And, like, I told her, I was like, I'm going to give you the full nerd effect of, like, who I am as a guy. I'm a child right now. Like, this past couple months, I've watched the trailer probably a good hundreds of times. Like, it's the most mesmerizing trailer I've ever seen. I'm like, this is awesome.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't think Luke is going to be bad. In this film, I think that it might be a mystery as to what his allegiances are or what his state is. I think there's a potential for him to have been in seclusion for a while for an unknown reason, which I won't speculate at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to spoil it for anybody. I have some theories, but I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to know. I don't want to admit that I might know. Based on my own imagination, and I just don't want to know. So we'll see. I would say that, go ahead. Box office speculation.
So, this is my whole theory, which probably is not going to be, it's going to be fact, that with the IMAX, like, how it pretty much just shattered all pre-sales. That's the crazy thing, is there's no other film that's going to do what this movie did with pre-sales. 10 times more than I think it is. It's between 8 times or 10 times more than what the Hunger Games pre-sale was. There's no film is going to touch that. And I think that shows how much this movie is going to make. I will go on record and say it's going to break Avatar's record.
Oh, easily.
It will go into the $3 billion. I guarantee it. Because...
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be like the first $1 billion opening.
I think it's... The midnight showing, it's going to reach... Or that opening weekend, it's going to reach well into the $300-400 million. And then worldwide, it's just going to put that even more. So yeah, I could totally see it doing like the first movie ever to do $1 billion.
Yeah, I think it's going to destroy the
the Jurassic Park record, and it's going to destroy the Avengers record. It's going to absolutely obliterate, probably by 2 times. I would say up to 2 times as much in sales. Here's what's great, what's brilliant that Disney did. They positioned this film to be released right before Christmas break. So people are going to see it multiple times worldwide for 2 weeks. Kids are out of school for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So this opening is going to just smash every record that we've ever seen. There's no comparison. It's a joke to compare it to any other film, even with inflation considered, like, Titanic or things from the 40s or whatever. I agree with you. It's going to be the biggest opening ever, hands down, probably by 2 times. I would say at least double what the biggest records have ever been.
And what's interesting about this is we know Episode 7 is going to be... It's something that it will never happen again in cinema.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, if this does good, it's going to do good and be successful. But, like, I honestly think Episode 8 could actually beat Episode 7. If people really feel like a kid and just feel like magic. When I saw the trailer, I was like, how do they do that? Even though I know how they do all that stuff, like, technically, I felt like a kid. I was like, I'm watching magic. And Episode 7 could piggyback off that success. And I'm glad that they're doing Episode 7 during Christmas. They hit the perfect spot for that. And then bringing Episode 8 back in May, I think. Or it's either May or July. They're bringing it back in the summer.
They're going back to May for the Episode 8 release.
So that's good.
Yeah, I think that they're estimating they're going to make $5 billion just on the merchandise alone.
Jeez.
And that will more than pay for what they've done just buying it for $4 billion.
Oh, yeah. And a funny thing that I'm doing is, because you know that, I don't know if you've heard this, but Chipmunks, their whatever 5th movie or something like that, is coming out on the same day. And so I'm on a bet with my friend who thinks it's going to break both 90 million and overseas and in North America. And I said it's not. So whoever loses has to buy the winner movie ticket. I'm gonna win this bet, but there's no way. If I had kids now and I knew Star Wars was coming out and then I saw Chipmunks and Star Wars was sold out, I'm waiting. Like, there's no way. I'm making the kids wait.
The reason they did that is so that the parents could go to the movie and the little kids could go sit in that movie.
Yeah. Like, it's now, granted, it's a smart move that they did with Chipmunks, but it's like, you're going up against the juggernaut of all films. Like, there's no way. Like, this movie is on a level of, like, nothing is going to touch it. Like, I seriously think that Batman v Superman won't even touch what Star Wars is doing. Like, for the next, like, 20 years, I don't think any movie's ever going to touch this.
No. Totally agree. I think that, that this will be the biggest opening that they experience for, I don't know, man. It's going to be, they're going to have the hype machine going for every single release, though. It's going to be amped up for Rogue One in 2016. It'll be amped up for Episode 8 in 2017, and so on. But I just don't know if you can cap or top what they're going to do with this film. I think the mystery around the film, the fact that the original cast is in it. I mean, Anthony Daniels, C-3PO actor, said that this is better than Empire Strikes Back, which is quite the statement.
Yeah.
Because that's everyone's favorite, mine included. Even Harrison Ford, who used to grumble at people about Star Wars, he used to act like he was annoyed and didn't like talking about it. Now, after filming it and seeing what they've done, he has said on Jimmy Kimmel, he's like, it is an amazing film. He's like, you will not be disappointed. He said that quote. He's like, it is, like, for him to flip like that, it must be really good.
Yeah, he's...
Incredible story. It must be executed extremely well. Incredible. I mean, they know that a huge amount of pressure is on this, and I know that JJ is a fan and doesn't want to mess this up, and didn't want the kind of backlash that some of the prequel movies got, which people need to just calm down about that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my thoughts about that. I feel like they've taken every step to make sure this is absolutely the best movie it can be, and still harken back to. I feel like this movie's going to be a mixture of episode 4 and 5 put together. So I have the mist in the kind of like, you know, the feeling of starting in a new place, but hence Jakku and not being Tatooine, and very similar to Tatooine, but yeah, new characters, but it feels lived in, and everyone's been there a while. You know, it's been 30 years, so there's definitely an awesome backstory and stuff that we don't know, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I think that it's. I don't know about you, and as we about to close now, it's when I saw the trailer, I cried. I'll admit to that. Like it's an emotional journey that this has gone. Like it's gone through. I'm not a big fan of the prequels. I liked episode 3 a little bit more than most people, but it's an emotional journey that everyone has gone through, and they want redemption. And I think people are going to get that, and I think that... And the crazy thing is, J.J. Abrams is a Star Wars fan. He gets everyone. And I think he really took this as... And I seriously think this will be his greatest film he ever made. Like, I love the new reboots of Star Trek, but something about this is going to be crazy. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to feel after I see Star Wars Episode 7. Like, I feel like it's going to be very interesting to see what everything is going to be unfold.
Also heard that they're going to do after credits, like the Marvel films.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
So I also would recommend to everyone to stop reading anything and everything on the internet. Don't read anything because rumors are out there, things are leaking, plot holes are leaking. I've stopped listening. Even though I know a lot and I have a lot of theories, I've stopped as of weeks and weeks ago. I highly recommend save your experience, save the night of being able to see it and have your mind blown and not know what's happening. You can wait another month. I would recommend it to everyone, especially when the 16th rolls around. Get off the internet because there's going to be stupid memes flying around, probably spoiling things like people with Harry Potter reading the end and yelling it at the bookstore. You know, it's just ridiculous. So
I agree.
I encourage everyone to avoid that.
I agree totally. Well, Reed, thank you for being on the show. This has been an experience. I've been waiting to do this episode since we first started talking about it. Like this is awesome. I finally got to. Everyone knows my whole thoughts and my theories behind it. You are an amazing friend, and I hope to do more episodes in the future. Now, if you guys have any questions that you want to be posted in the future episodes, you can email us at themovielounge15@gmail.com, or you can go to our Twitter account or YouTube. You can leave a comment now or on our Facebook page. And yeah, like what Reed said, don't read into any of the media like spoilers, rumors, or anything. Just stay away from all that. Enjoy the film. Enjoy your day. You guys have an awesome day.